Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Yash and today I'm going to talk about my reading journey, I know this is different from doing makeup on my channel, but I do love reading books. That's why I also want to share what I like to read. I also want to share what I am reading currently, and hopefully this inspires you to read with me or give you my thoughts on what books are worth reading and what books are not. So how I like to read is that I like to have an audiobook when I'm doing my chores. I like to have an ebook on my phone and iPad available so that when I catch myself doom scrolling, I can always just switch my app and just go to read a book. I always like to have a book on Kindle so that when I'm reading before bed, that I'm not using my phone. I like to also have a physical book that I own that I will carry around with me outside. So that is specifically my outside reading book. So I will take that book with me everywhere. And I also like borrowing books from the library just because I love having multiple books available. And finally, I have a book club on Fable, which is called RRR, which means read, rinse, and repeat. I like to have another book for my book club so that I can discuss more in-depthly about the book instead of just reading it casually and having it to discuss with no one. So for November's reading journey, the audiobook I'm listening to is The Night Diary by Hiranandani. So that is the book that I usually listen to when I'm doing my household chores. So far into the book, it's quite touching, and that's all I'm gonna say for now. I'm gonna give you my updates when I have fully finished the book. The ebook I'm reading is The Violent Season by Sara Walters. I've just read around 20% of the book, so that one I'm going to give my thoughts more after I have finished reading it. For the book I'm reading on Kindle, this is my Kindle. The book I'm reading on Kindle is Before I Go to Sleep by S.J. Watson. I'm about 50 something percent into the book. I know it's a little bit of a thriller mystery book, and it's weird to read this before bed, but I don't mind it. It's quite interesting. So that is that. The book that I own and I carried it everywhere is called The Girl Before by JP Delaney, and you can see by the wear and tear of it, it's been thrown around in my bag a lot, but I know it's a thick book and it's quite a commitment to carry this around everywhere with me, but it is interesting. So, and I don't want to ruin the books that I borrow from the library. That's why I like to carry my own books when I read. And then for another physical book that I like to read at home is the book that I borrow from a library. And this one is called The Ruins by Scott Smith, and I haven't started this one yet, so I am quite excited to start this one today. So this one I'm gonna read with you guys and going to tell you how long did it take me to finish it. Finally, a book that I am reading for my book club, RRR, is Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince by J.K. Rowling. Now this book I am reading it on Kindle. Hate the author, hate that she's so not problematic, she's so transphobic and weird, but it has been a childhood goal of mine to read Harry Potter books. Like, I was a teenager when the Harry Potter movies were coming out and everybody was reading it, but during that time I was just not interested in fantasy. I was more interested in vampires and werewolves. That's why I never got around to reading anything like witchcraft related. So that's why I'm going to complete the series in my adulthood, but so far so good, and let's see how long it takes me to finish the book. Let me talk about honorable mentions. Honorable mentions, it means that I have started these books in casual reading, but I have just not continued them. Now, the first one is A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. No hate to the author. And no hate to the people who have completed this book and just ate it up in one sitting. It's just that for me, it's just like, okay, I need to take my time with this. So that's why I just have other books that I'm reading right now. But I will complete this sometime. Maybe this month, maybe next month, who knows. Anyways, the second one is The Tipping Point by Malcolm Gladwell. Now, that one was a beach book. So in the summertime, when I was going to the beach, I would take that book with me because it was very small and tiny. But now, since it's since winter is coming, yeah, we'll see if I get to finish that book. The third one is The Queen of Shadows by Sarah J. Maas. Now, this one is only because I got distracted with other books, and plus I was borrowing that book from the library. And because that book is such high in demand that I just couldn't finish it in the right time. So I'm still waiting on to borrowing that book. So when I get it back, then finally I can finish it. The fourth one is The City of Brass by S.A. Chakraborty. Now this one, I just started this book because I was so bored of reading my other books and I just wanted something new. And so I just finished 3% of the book on my Kindle, but I will continue reading it some other day. I will finally finish these, but just not right now. The last one is The Lost Daughter by Anne Goldstein and Elena Ferrante. When I read a certain book from an author and I like their writing style, I make it my personal mission to read all the books they have ever created. So that's why I picked up The Lost Daughter by Elena Ferrante, because I saw that the audiobook version was available on the library app, but I got distracted by another story and that book high in demand, so I just couldn't finish it before I had to return it. So I will be finishing that sometime in the future. Anyways, this is my first update. These are the book that I'm introducing, so I'll give you another update when I finish a book or I get distracted and pick up a new book. I will try my best to finish it though. I'll see you in my next update. Bye. So I have an update for you. Today is the 10th of November and I just finished The Night Diary by Hiranandani, which is my audiobook. I'll give you a little bit of my final thoughts and what the book is about. So this book on fable is written as a historical fiction book, which is accurate. And it is written as a children's fiction book, which I think is up to the reader to decide whether it is children's fiction or not. To me, I wouldn't really push this novel for children to read because I feel like it's so sad. It takes place in the time when India and Pakistan were separated into two countries while the British stopped their rule on them. And this story is about this one family that has to travel from the Pakistan side to India because they're Hindus. So it talks about that. And I just feel, why did this separation happen? Even though it is a fictional book, it makes me think of like, why did this separation happen in the first place when people, they share some aspects of the same culture, they share some aspects of the same food together, and it's just so heartbreaking that this happened. And disclaimer, I'm not informed much about like why things went down that the way they did. The book does talk about it, and in the author's note they also give a little bit of more context of the story. But just overall, after reading the book, it just made me feel like it's so sad that there was so much hatred towards one another when you've been living together for such a long time, you know, like the Muslims and the Hindus and the Sikhs. Like, it was just so sad that this happened. And I know this still happens in some states, in some places as well. I just feel that the hatred is unnecessary. There's this one quote from the book. I'm not gonna quote it verbatim, but it does talk about like, how do we know who's Muslim, who's Sikh, or who's Hindu, who's Muslim, Sikh, or Hindu, because we all have the same things inside of us. Like, we have the same blood, we have the same bones, we have the same muscles, you know, we bleed the same. We have the same things, we have the same organs. Like, why do we need to label each thing? So that that sentiment really sits with you. So this book made me cry. Of course, it's an emotional book. It's written through the perspective of a 12-year-old girl. Because it made me cry, I gave it a 5 out of 5. Any book that makes me cry, instant 5 out of 5. Because to me, I cannot fathom, like, how can words just make me so emotional? You know, something I'm just reading about is making me so emotional. So this book reminds me of how it felt when I first read Panchiko by, what's the author name? Oh my God, I'm just gonna put it on the screen. Like, I don't remember her name, but that book was so good. It's still one of the best books that I've ever read. It's so heartbreaking. It is so hopeful. It is just life, you know? It's like how people live. It's just about life and how you just have to deal and persevere. That was that. Yeah. In replacement of The Night Diary, my audiobook, which I listen to when I'm doing my housework and stuff, I'm replacing it with Don't Believe It by Charlie Donlea. This is my second book from him. Let's see how it goes. See you in my next update. So I finished 2 more books. The first one I finished was Before I Go to Sleep by S.J. Watson. Thriller. It was a dark, mysterious thriller book. I will give it a 3.5 out of 5. The story and the build-up was very good. The twist, it blew my mind. I kind of suspected the twist would go in that direction, but I didn't predict how the twist would come to be. This book is about a woman whose memories resets as soon as she sleeps. So she has no memory of her past life, and she suspects that her husband has something to do with it. And that's how the story goes. You have to read for yourself. It is a really good read. I would recommend to pick it up. In replacement of that, I am going to be reading, so I read that book in my Kindle. So I'm going to be reading The City of Brass by S.A. Chakraborty now. And I've gotten through around 10% of the book. And it's quite nice, so I can't wait to finish it. The second book I finished was the physical book that I bring around, which is The Girl Before by JP Delaney. This is also a mysterious thriller book, and it is so well written. This one is, I would give it a 3.5 or 3.8 out of 5. I give it a little bit higher than the Before I Go to Sleep is because I was so shook by the twist. This book is about how 2 women had to find a place to live, and they found a place that is kind of weird. You just have to read the book to find out the concept, because I think the book itself, the way it describes the house, it's quite important to the story. Anyways, one of the girl have died and the other girl is living in her as her replacement in the house, and it's quite mysterious. It's very nice, so give it a read. In replacement of that, I'm going to be reading The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Night Time by Mark Haddon. I know nothing about this book, so I'm super excited to read it. This is another update for my November reading journey. I finished an audiobook. I finished the audiobook Don't Believe It by Charlie Donlea. I finally learned how to say his name. It's not Charlie Donlea, it's Donlea. I don't know why I mispronounced it that way, so if you were offended in the beginning, I am so sorry. I am so sorry. I didn't mean to pronounce someone's name incorrectly. It just didn't click in my head that Lea is Lee. Anyway, I really enjoyed this book. This is my second book from Charlie Donlea, and he has this way of story build up and the ending being a little bit, if you've ever experienced reading his books, his ending is that the justice is only partially served, where the perpetrators kind of, no, I'm not going to say anything. Okay, he has an interesting way to end his books that I enjoy, because it just makes it much more surprising or mind-blowing to read. I didn't think that he would do this with this book as well, but now I see it's like kind of like a pattern. I do enjoy it, so I'm going to continue reading his books, but I give this book a 4 out of 5. This book was very interesting. The story was very good. It's about a woman who's incarcerated for a decade, and a true crime documentary director wants to use her case for the new docu-series that she's making. And she finds out the information as she go. I really genuinely love that idea. If there is a documentary that is shot like this, where the director finds the information as she goes toward a really high profile case, I would definitely eat it up. This book was amazing. In replacement of my audiobook, I'm going to listen The Lying Life of Adults by Elena Ferrante, translated by Anne Goldstein. This is the other book that I'm going to start listening to while I'm doing my housework around the house, and I will give you an update. I've only got like 6 days left in this month. I don't think I can finish this book, but if I do, I will give you an update. If I don't, then you will see in my next update. So I'll see you next time. So that's all the books I have read in November. I don't think it's that bad because I did finish around 5 books. So that's around 1 book per week. So I still have 7 more books to finish before the end of this year. So I'm really hoping I will do that in December. And I really have to up my reading game for that. But I really have to up my reading game for that, but I think I will be able to do so. I will leave the books that I have finished or talked about in the comments below, so you can also search for them if you like. I will also leave my Fable account and my Goodreads account. So if you want to join my book club, or if you want to be friends on Fable or Goodreads, I would love that, because I really love to see other people's, like, what are they reading right now, like what are they currently reading and what they have finished and their reviews. Please come and join in, and it's always fun. Leave a like if you like this kind of content. Leave a comment on what books have you finished this month or are planning to finish this month. I would really love to know what you guys are reading. Subscribe to my channel if you like occasional book content with a side of makeup content on a regular basis. And I will see you in my next video. Bye, have fun, and let's keep reading.